riders in the world getting ready to battle it out. I'm joined in the studio here by Ronnie Renner, a rider of note himself. He's been up on the podium many a time before. Ronnie, you know what's all about in these kind of events. Talk about this and the battle between these two guys right here.
I've been in some hairy situations, Troy, but never in the situation Nate Adams and Andre Villa are in. The big shootout between the big guns. Last stop of the tour. Look at that, 5-point difference.
5-point difference is not much, and what it boils down to tonight is whoever comes out on top wins the Tour Championship.
It's going to be a battle. Both guys tearing it up in qualification, looking solid. Nate getting a bit of an upper hand. Speaking of qualifying, what do we got here?
Well, what happens is the qualifying, you take normally 6 riders into round 1. We had 4 because of injury. The best 2 from round 1 move on to round 2 where we get the heats. This is where it gets interesting for everybody because it's head-to-head battles. That goes down to the semifinal and then the final.
A lot on the line tonight. World-class riders. Couple new faces in the house. Massimo Bianconcini, the local boy, unfortunately already knocked out in the first round of qualification tonight. But that's all right. We got Josh Shaheen, the young gun from Australia, breaking through, knocking actually Mike Mason out, putting him into the showers.
I was actually surprised by that. And speaking of surprise, let's check out some of the action from previous events and how much this event was sold out.
42,000 people in Mexico City.
Red Bull X Fighters in Giza in Egypt. That one was sold out as well. 12,000 people packed the lines.
I still think if you snuck in there. And then how about that backdrop? Red Square, Moscow, 40,000 people.
Speaking of backdrops, this is a favorite, Red Bull X Fighters in Madrid. And this one was packed to the rafters as well. 25,000 people, and they were screaming their heads off.
You do not get any more energy than that, even if you're at the Battersea Power Station, where 30,000 fans packed in front of the Battersea Power Station.
So a series of sold-out events at the Red Bull X Fighters 2010, a total of 149,000 people up to this event here. And once again, Ronnie, we have a packed house.
There are quite a few Spartans up in the house here. The Romans came in droves, in bucketfuls. That's usually a reference that goes to rain, but there's no rain tonight. We got awesome weather.
Beautiful
I would say,
weather.
I don't know the numbers. We got 30,000 plus here, so let's just lie and get up into the 200,000 for the tour range.
Perfect. It sounds good to me. All right, let's look at this round 2 heat setup. Matt Verbeau going to be going up against Danny Torres.
Then we have heat number 2. Well, actually, let's just get to this one. I think it's about the show's about to get on the road here.
Oh, it does look like it, doesn't it?
We got Ribot versus Torres head-to-head. We're going to go down to Remy Bizsois versus, this is an important battle, Andre Villa. We want to see him continue through the ranks. What more could we ask for but a head-to-head final with Nate Adams and Andre Villa?
Yeah, that would be a favorite to see, and that would be the way to do it. Heat number 3 is going to be Adam Jones going up against Josh.
He's going to go against Bryce Izzo, who is the top qualifier from our first qualification round tonight.
That's correct, you're right.
And then Heat 4,
Nate Adams is going to go up against Josh.
Josh Shaheen's got his work cut out for him.
He does have his work cut out for him, but you never know, you know. Josh is a bit of a dark horse. Like I said, during the round 1, he's a good rider, but will he be able to do it here?
Matt Ribot, no stranger to the tour. Actually, the World Tour champion in 2008. A good friend of mine, Red Bull teammate, KTM teammate. Love the guy's dedication to the sport. He's got some ups and downs in his style and his criticism from the other riders. He's really focused. He's really maybe too serious for some of the guys like him or sometimes, but Matt comes to win.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's what this event is all about for these guys, coming to win and coming to have a good time, and it seems like Matt comes out and has a good time as well.
Here we go. Matt's going to crank up his run with a huge suicide no-hander. Can't even really call that a full no-handed backflip. He's almost going to lazy boy position with his feet staying on the pegs.
He gets some serious angle on that one as he comes around the corner, going for the long distance this time.
We got a 120-footer. With an Indian Air KO. Going super long, over-rotating a bit, but still punctuating that trick. Indian Air backflip.
And his dad just blowing out of breath there in relief.
Kiss of death, Indy, actually. And then Oh, coming a little short there on that one-handed seat grab Indy, but doesn't phase him. Superman seat grab backflip. Looks like he's doing some adjustments on his bike, heading to the corner, which lines him up for the super kicker. Two super kickers on the course tonight. Oh, and flipping that with a double can.
I was just going to say, this super kicker is a short version, and then there's also a longer version here, so two of them to play with. We haven't seen anybody do the super kicker so far in round 1 or 2, so let's see if that comes into play here.
He took it around into the dirt kicker with a really sweet super can. Back into the rhythm. Little turn down style tweak air. Into a backflip Cordova. Great execution on that. Taking a funky line up over. Looks like he's going to head back to this diagonal 75-footer with an underflip.
Oh,
nice.
Fantastic. Every once in a while, we see the camera also pan over to his dad, who is also his mechanic, and you see a couple of times he was a little worried about Matt.
All right, time is out, but they're going to count these two, I believe. One-handed can-can flip, and then KOD over his final jump. Both jumps do count. Matt Ribot, what do you think, Troy? Pretty solid run, huh?
Pretty solid run. That landing on that long distance, though, was a little bit scary, and I think maybe it sketched him out a bit, and it made him think twice about this jump on the double here. But he got it back real quick on the second of the double, so I think it's not going to hurt him too badly, but it's going to be an interesting breakdown here because Danny Torres has been looking really good. I mean, we mentioned earlier that both Matt and Danny were looking super solid on the course here. So let's just see what it boils down to in this head-to-head. In the slow-mos, we can see what happened here.
Yeah, he went a little long on that first hit. Probably a little sided. That's what happens when 30,000-plus Romans are screaming at you. Took it a little long. Still held on to it. The judges might pick him apart a little with that trick. And cleaned up his act. And how about that super can over the dirt kicker? Really clean, really nice. Beautiful. Not a high level of difficulty on that.
But it's also nice that he managed to pull that back from that big backflip, you know, because he's just coming back from injury, third event back from injury, and he's looking real good.
Yeah, Matt had a tough get up earlier this year, right before the season started, actually, and it slowed his roll down pretty bad over the summer, and looks like he's back in his stride pretty good. The Jumbotron.
Yeah, the Super Jumbotron. All right, so Danny Torres will be the next rider to come out in this heat number 1. Head-to-head battles. What a great way to go about it. And we also talked about how the judging has changed a little bit. Category judging is what they're doing now, so each judge has a specific thing he's looking for out on course. How does Danny's riding style differ from Matt's riding style, and how are the judges going to pick him apart, differing from Matt's, perhaps the way they picked him apart?
Well, Danny and Matt both have similar styles. They're really dynamic. They're on the gas. They're kind of doing a lot of work. If you're the untrained eye, you're thinking, God, these guys have to be exhausted after about a minute. They're putting a lot in. Danny, known to have a little better extension on his tricks, but with that extension and kind of that level of amplitude he brings mistakes, and he's been known to have a slip up from time to time. He's also coming off an injury, ironically around the same neck of the woods there, the wrist, which is also giving Matt problems. Doesn't seem to slow any of them down. I've watched them both in practice and the pre-qualifications. Back on top of their game. Here comes Danny Torres, gunning for the 120 right out of the gate.
Rock solid, and it was solid. Beautiful.
Just flying through the air there.
Great extension as he gets that one out of the way, and his wife looking on.
Danny's known to have great punctuation on his tricks. There we go.
Again, beautiful extension on that backflip Superman seat grab.
Then cliffhanger flip. I told you, Danny's been known to make some mistakes. That's been a trick that's kind of put a hamper on some of his runs. Not that time.
Well, Danny's looking pretty solid so far. Off the short super kicker for a cliffhanger. So the cliffhanger backflip and a cliffhanger back-to-back. Nicely done.
Lazy boy flip over the dirt head. Nice.
And he had some rotation on that, hey?
That's about the gnarliest trick you're going to see thrown on that hit. It's not a very big one tonight. Riders have struggled with it all through practice. Oh, double grab backflip. That's best trick material.
And we have only seen Danny, he's the only one been doing that in the competition this weekend.
Huge flatliner, double back. And you see Troy, he is on the gas. He's probably going to get, I'm guessing he's going to get another hit or two, and cutting the jump short there, hitting the other super kicker, that's a little more use of course than Matt's going to grab.
Yeah, and he's had every piece of course used so far, so I mean that's going to count in a big way for him with 9 seconds still to go. He can go for this big long jump again, which it looks like he's going to do.
This will be his last hit, 4 seconds left on the clock. Backflip, heel clicker.
Oh, yes.
Combo.
Nice combo right there. I think we're going to see Danny getting a full 5 helmets on this one.
You see his fiance looking on with his little men, cheering for Daddy. And he don't have to be in the Plaza de Toros to rev up the crowd.
Not at all. And I got to admit, Massimo Bianconcini at the very start of the show tonight in round 1, he got this crowd into it, even though he didn't make it into round 2. You know, they were excited to see a hometown boy going for it.
Believe it or not, people, there was a roof on this place until Massimo Bianconcini came in. Blew it right off. Look at these slow-mos of Danny. Just great extension, heart attack style on that Superman seat grab flip.
And like you say, punctuating it with that last push of the legs.
And he holds all his tricks. And if I'm sitting there judging, I'm critiquing these, that's where he has a little edge on Matt Ribot, is the way he holds his tricks and just a little more extension.
Well, you mentioned earlier when we were watching the qualification round that Matt Ribot races through the course and sometimes he's a little too quick with his tricks because of that almost panic stride that he takes.
Well, you know, Matt's hungry. He wants to win these. He's been to the top. So is Danny. And you can just tell sometimes Matt tries a little too hard. I'm not judging this one, thank God. But if I had to be, I think I would have a little edge with Torres. Solid ride by Ribot, though. And there's your view.
Well, he's only got to get 3 out of 5 helmets to move on to the semifinal. So variety goes to Matt Ribot. Execution goes to Torres. It's tied up so far.
Mano y mano.
Style,
Danny.
Torres. Use of course Torres. That means Danny is going on to the semifinal.
All it takes is 3 of those helmets. Danny also pulling the show in. Good effort by Matt Ribot. Taking that Red Bull KTM back to the pits. Get it ready for 2011.
That's basically what it boils down to. This year was his warm-up year after injury, so next year he'll be back and ready to go for it, full blast. All right, next heat coming up in round number 2. It's going to be Remy Bizoir up against Andre Villa.
A lot of electricity in the air tonight. I don't think a lot of these people knew what to expect. So when Massimo came out firing off a flip out of his first trick, they just went off the charts.
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of fans of freestyle motocross here because, you know, the popularity of the Red Bull X Fighters is worldwide. But we're talking about, you know, a lot of people coming in who are just curious onlookers who have seen the posters and said, hey, come on, let's check it out. It's a stadium event. They come here, and their minds are absolutely blown. All right, first rider out, going to be the young Frenchman, Remy Bizoir.
This is an important match right here. It's got one of our